The oil stain on my driveway is shaped like the continent of Australia. It's been there since 1994, a permanent tattoo on the concrete left by a leaky rear main seal on a Dodge Charger I was flipping to pay for my daughter's braces. I never cleaned it. I like it. It reminds me that machines bleed just like men. I was under the hood of my 1978 Ford F-150, tightening the valve cover gasket. The truck is ugly. There is no other word for it. The paint, originally a shade of midnight blue, has oxidized into a matte, chalky gray that looks like a chalkboard eraser. The rear fender has a dent from where a bull kicked it in the 80s. The upholstery is cracked vinyl that sticks to your skin in the summer and freezes to your jeans in the winter. But the engine is a 300 cubic inch inline 6. It is cast iron. It has 7 main bearings. You could drain the oil, fill the crankcase with sand, and it would probably still run for 50 miles out of pure spite. It doesn't have computers, it doesn't have sensors, it breathes air and it burns gas, and it does exactly what I tell it to do. Grandpa, Jesus, turn that thing off. You're killing the ozone layer single-handedly. The voice cut through the rhythmic thrum of the Ford's idle. I didn't pull my head out immediately. I finished tightening the bolt. Torque spec, 12 foot-pounds, not a pound more. I wiped my hands on a rag that was more grease than cotton and straightened up. My grandson, Tyler, was standing in the driveway. He was 24 years old. He was wearing sneakers that looked like marshmallows and a t-shirt that cost more than my weekly grocery bill. He was holding a phone on a gimbal, filming himself. Behind him sat a car. It was a Ferrari 488 Spider. Bright yellow, Giallo Modena, they call it. It sat low and wide, looking like an angry wasp that had landed on my gravel. "Hey guys," Tyler was shouting at his phone screen. "Check out the contrast. We're here at the ancestral homestead. It's giving rustic. It's giving poverty core. Look at this truck. I think it predates the invention of the wheel." He laughed. It was a hollow, performative sound. He tapped the screen, ending the stream. "Hey Bill," he said, dropping the act. He didn't call me Grandpa when the camera was off. "Seriously, that exhaust smells terrible. You need to scrap this heap, get a Tesla, or at least something from this century." I walked over to the Ferrari. I wiped my hands on my pants to avoid getting grease on the paint, even though the car was filthy with road dust. "It's a lease, Tyler," I said. It wasn't a question. "It's a long-term rental for the brand," he corrected, puffing out his chest. "I have a partnership with Apex Exotics. They give me the keys, I get them the eyeballs. It's called leverage, Bill. You wouldn't understand. You trade hours for dollars. I trade influence for assets." "You trade dignity for likes," I muttered. I leaned down near the Ferrari's rear engine deck. The V8 was idling. To Tyler, it sounded like power. It sounded like money. To me, it sounded like a cry for help. I closed my eyes. I tuned out the wind in the trees and Tyler's yammering. I listened to the combustion events. Bang, 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 skip, bang. It was subtle. A microsecond delay in the firing order of the 7th cylinder. A harmonic imbalance in the valve train. "You have a sticky injector," I said, standing up. "And your left turbo bearing is whining. It's starving for oil." Tyler rolled his eyes. "Okay, Rain Man, sure. It was serviced last week. It's Italian engineering. It's supposed to sound aggressive." "Aggressive is one thing," I said, walking back to my truck. "Dying is another. Don't push it past 6,000 RPMs. You'll float a valve." "I'm going to push it to the red line tonight," Tyler grinned, getting back into the low-slung seat. "There's a meet-up on River Road. We're racing for pinks. Well, not pinks, because the bank owns the cars, but for clout. You should come. You could bring the tractor." He pointed at my F-150. "I'm good," I said. "I have work to do in the barn." "The barn?" Tyler scoffed. "You mean the graveyard? Mom says you have 10 tons of rusty scrap metal in there. You know, if you cleared that out, we could build a guest house or a studio for my podcast." "The barn stays locked," I said. My voice dropped an octave. It was the tone I used when a bolt was stripped and needed to be drilled out. unyielding. Tyler revved the engine. The Ferrari screamed. It was a high-pitched, desperate wail. I heard the miss again. Chug. "Whatever, old man," Tyler shouted over the noise. "Smell you later." Literally. He peeled out of the driveway. He didn't modulate the clutch. He just dumped it. The traction control fought to keep the car straight as he sprayed gravel all over my hydrangeas. I watched him go. I watched the yellow blur disappear around a bend. "That boy," I whispered to the truck, "is going to throw a rod." I didn't know how right I was. The call came at 2 a.m. I was awake. I don't sleep much anymore. At 71, sleep feels like a waste of time. I was in the kitchen drinking black coffee and reading a technical manual for a 1937 Delahaye transmission. The phone rang. It was my daughter, Sarah. "Dad!" Her voice was high, tight, bordering on hysteria. "Dad, you have to come. It's Tyler." "Is he hurt?" I asked, closing the manual. I was already reaching for my keys. "No, yes, I don't know. He's at the police station. But the car? Dad, the car." "I'm on my way." I didn't take the truck. I took Sarah's spare sedan, which I had fixed the brakes on last week. I drove fast. When I got to the station, Tyler was sitting on a metal bench in the holding area. He wasn't wearing his cool sneakers. He was barefoot. He was shaking. Sarah was arguing with a police officer. "It was a mechanical failure," she was screaming. "He told me. The steering locked up." I walked past her. I looked at Tyler. "What happened?" I asked. Tyler looked up. His eyes were red. I turned off the traction control for the drift. I wanted the shot for TikTok. I hit a patch of oil." "You hit a patch of talent you didn't have," I said. "Where is the car?" "Impound," the officer said. "Total loss. He wrapped it around a telephone pole. He's lucky to be alive. He's also lucky we aren't charging him with reckless endangerment, just negligence." "Negligence?" Sarah asked. "What does that mean?" "It means," I said, looking at the paperwork on the desk, "that the insurance won't pay." Tyler put his head in his hands. "The leasing agreement," he sobbed. "Apex Exotics. They have a clause. Any damage incurred while traction control systems are disabled or during competitive events is the sole liability of the lessee. They want the money. Now." "How much?" I asked. Tyler swallowed. $350,000 plus fees," Sarah gasped. She grabbed the counter to keep from falling. "We don't have that," she whispered. "We have the mortgage, the credit cards. Tyler, you said you were making money." "I am," Tyler cried. "But it's in crypto. It's illiquid, and the market is down." "So you're broke," I said. "If I don't pay by Friday," Tyler whispered, "they're going to file charges for criminal fraud. They said I leased the car under false pretenses of financial solvency. I'll go to prison, Grandpa. Real prison." I looked at him. He was a soft boy. Soft hands, soft mind. He wouldn't last 20 minutes in prison. He would be traded for a pack of cigarettes. "Let's go home," I said. "We'll discuss this in the morning." The discussion happened in Sarah's living room the next day. The room was white. Everything was white. White couch, white rug, white walls. It looked like an operating theater. I sat in a beige armchair, my boots leaving a faint trace of dust on the floor that made Sarah wince. "We have a solution," Sarah said. She was pacing. She had her problem-solving face on, which usually meant she was about to ask me for something I didn't want to give. "I'm listening," I said. "The farm," she said. I stiffened. "What about it?" "Dad, you're sitting on 10 acres of prime land. And that barn, it's huge. The developer down the road, Mr. Henderson, he's been asking about your lot for years. He wants to build condos." "No," I said. "Dad, please." Sarah stopped pacing. She looked at me with desperate, tear-filled eyes. "It's just dirt, and that barn, it's full of junk. Old engines, rusty fenders, metal scrap. You've been hoarding that trash since Mom died. It's a fire hazard. It's an eyesore." "It's not junk," I said quietly. "It is junk," Tyler shouted from the couch. He was icing his shoulder, playing the victim. "I've seen it. It's just piles of greasy metal covered in tarps. There's no car in there that runs. It's just parts." Those parts have value, I said. Scrap value, Tyler yelled. A few grand? Maybe 10? We need 350,000, Bill, immediately. If you sell the land, Sarah pressed, we can pay off the debt, we can save Tyler, and you can move into the guest room here. It'll be better for you. No more cold winters in that drafty house, no more lonely nights. I looked at them. They didn't see me. They saw an ATM machine that was malfunctioning. They saw a crazy old man collecting rust. They didn't know that under the tarp in the back corner of the barn, sitting on jack stands, was a chassis number that would make a grown man weep. They didn't know that the rusty engine block by the door was a 427 side oiler hand-built for Le Mans. They saw rust. I saw history. I am not selling the land, I said, and I am not selling the barn. Then you're letting me go to jail, Tyler screamed. You selfish old prick. You care more about your garbage than your own family. Tyler, Sarah scolded, but she didn't disagree. She looked at me. Dad, he's right. What is more important, iron or blood? I stood up. My knees popped. I need money, I said. 350,000. Yes, Sarah cried. I will get it, I said. They blinked. How? Tyler scoffed. You going to rob a bank in your tractor? I am going to Monterey, I said. Car week is this weekend. The auction is Saturday. Monterey? Sarah looked confused. In California? That's 1,000 miles away. You're going to drive? Yes. In the truck? Tyler started laughing. Grandpa, that truck won't make it to the state line. And even if it does, what are you going to do? Sell hubcaps at the swap meet? You need hundreds of thousands of dollars, not pocket change. I have business there, I said. I have an item to sell. An item, Tyler mocked. What? A vintage toaster? A catalytic converter? I'm going, I said, walking to the door. If you want the money, Tyler, you're coming with me. You can drive the night shift, assuming you can drive a vehicle that doesn't have a computer to save you. Tyler looked at his mother. Mom, I can't go on a road trip with him. It'll smell like gasoline and Old Spice, and I have to post content. Go, Sarah ordered. Make sure he doesn't get lost. Make sure he actually sells whatever junk he thinks is valuable. If he fails, we sell the land while he's gone. I have power of attorney if he's deemed incapacitated. I heard that. She meant for me to hear it. I'll be in the driveway in 10 minutes, I said. Pack light. The truck doesn't have a trunk. The drive was hell, but it was a specific kind of hell that I enjoyed. The F-150 rattled. The suspension was stiff. The air conditioning was 2 windows rolled down and driving faster. The cabin smelled of unburnt hydrocarbons and stale coffee. Tyler complained for the first 600 miles. My phone is dying. The USB port doesn't work. It's a cigarette lighter, Tyler. Use the adapter. My back hurts. These seats are torture devices. They're benches. Sit up straight. Why is everyone looking at us? Because we are loud and we are slow. We slept in motels that cost $40 a night. We ate at diners where the waitress called me honey and Tyler sugar. By the time we hit the Pacific Coast Highway, Tyler had stopped complaining and started sulking. He was filming stories for his Instagram. Update, guys, he whispered into his phone, still trapped in the nightmare mobile. Grandpa thinks he's going to save the day at Pebble Beach. It's actually sad. It's dementia, honestly. We're rolling up to the most exclusive car event on Earth in a vehicle that looks like it survived the Dust Bowl. Cringe levels are critical. He pointed the camera at me. I kept my eyes on the road. I shifted gears, third to fourth. The transmission whined a beautiful mechanical note. We arrived at the gates of Pebble Beach on Friday afternoon. It was a different world. The air smelled of eucalyptus and money. The parking lot was filled with McLarens, Paganis, and vintage Rolls-Royces. People walked around in white linen suits and Panama hats. And then there was us. My F-150 backfired as I downshifted, approaching the main checkpoint. Bang! A woman walking a poodle jumped. Tyler slid down in his seat, pulling his hoodie over his head. "Oh my God," he moaned. "Turn around. Just turn around. They're going to arrest us for vagrancy." I pulled up to the VIP checkpoint. A security guard, a large man in a blazer with an earpiece, stepped out. He looked at the truck. He looked at the rust. He looked at the oil dripping onto the pristine asphalt. He held up a hand. His face was a mask of professional disdain. "Sir," the guard said, walking to my window, "deliveries are at the south gate, and I think you're lost. The construction site is 5 miles back." Tyler leaned across me. "Hey, bro," Tyler said, flashing his famous influencer smile. I know. It's ironic, right? We're doing a bit. I'm Tyler Vance. Check my handle. 500,000 followers. We're here to collab with, Ferrari. Just let us through to the media lot." The guard looked at Tyler. He looked at the phone Tyler was shoving in his face. "General admission parking is 5 miles away," the guard said coldly. "Take the shuttle and move this vehicle immediately. You are leaking fluids on the red carpet." "But I'm verified," Tyler shouted. "Turn around," the guard ordered. He put a hand on his radio. "Dispatch, we have a 1090 at the north gate, a scrap truck refusing to vacate." Tyler turned to me, his face red with shame. "I told you," he hissed. "I told you this would happen. We are a joke. Turn around, Grandpa. Let's go before they tow us." I didn't turn around. I rolled down the window further. I rested my elbow on the door. "Afternoon," I said to the guard. The guard sighed. "Sir, move the vehicle." "I'm looking for Jenkins," I said, "head of event security. Tell him Bill is here. Tell him I brought the 427. The guard blinked. He looked annoyed. "Mr. Jenkins is busy handling the VIPs. He doesn't have time for—" "Just tell him," I interrupted. My voice was soft, but it had the weight of a sledgehammer. "Tell him the ghost is at the north gate." Tyler looked at me like I had lost my mind. "The ghost? What are you talking about?" "Grandpa, stop making up nicknames." The guard hesitated. Something in my tone made him pause. He tapped his earpiece. "Control, this is Post 1. I have an elderly male here asking for Jenkins. Says his name is the Ghost." The guard rolled his eyes as he said it. There was a pause, silence. Then the guard's eyes went wide. He pressed the earpiece harder against his ear. "Yes, sir. Understood, sir. Immediately, sir." The guard stepped back. His entire demeanor changed. The disdain vanished, replaced by a frantic, terrified respect. He waved his arm at the other guards. "Open the gate! Open the main gate! Clear the lane!" Tyler's jaw dropped. "What?" The barricade lifted. The guard ran back to my window. He saluted. "My apologies, Mr. Holloway. We weren't expecting you in, this transport. Mr. Jenkins says to drive straight to the main podium. They are holding the rehearsal for you." "Thanks," I said. I put the truck in first gear. It grinded a little. I let out the clutch. We rolled forward, past the velvet ropes, past the line of Ferraris, past the stunned onlookers. "Grandpa," Tyler whispered, staring at me. "Why did he call you that? Why did he let us in? What is going on?" I shifted into second. The engine roared. "You like to talk about influence, Tyler," I said, looking straight ahead at the manicured lawns of the Concours d'Elegance. "You chase it. You beg for it." I tapped the steering wheel. "I built it." We drove into the heart of the show, the rusty grey truck parting the sea of billionaires like a shark swimming through a school of tuna. The engine of my 1978 Ford F-150 finally died as I turned the key to the off position. It didn't stop cleanly. It shuddered, coughed once like a dying smoker, and then settled into a ticking silence. We were parked on the pristine, manicured grass of the 18th fairway at Pebble Beach. To my left was a 1937 Bugatti Type 57 SC Atlantic, a car worth $40 million. To my right was a Ferrari 250 GTO worth perhaps 50, and in the middle, dripping a single defiant drop of 10W30 oil onto the holy turf, was my rust bucket truck. The silence was absolute. The crowd, men in linen suits, women in fascinator hats, collectors with net worths that rivaled small nations, stared at us. They held champagne flutes halfway to their mouths. The cognitive dissonance was palpable. They were trying to understand if this was performance art or a security breach. Tyler shrank down in the passenger seat until he was essentially sitting on the floorboards. "I can't get out," he hissed, pulling his hood tight. Grandpa, there are cameras. People are live streaming. I'll be a meme. Trash truck at the concourse. My brand is over. Your brand ended when you put that Ferrari into a telephone pole, I said, opening the door. I stepped out. My boots hit the grass with a heavy thud. I was wearing my grease-stained jeans and a clean but wrinkled button-down shirt. I didn't look like money, I looked like work. A man in a tuxedo walked briskly toward us. He was flanked by 2 large security guards. Tyler groaned. "Here it comes, we're getting arrested." The man in the tuxedo stopped 3 feet from me. He looked at the truck. He looked at me. Then a smile broke across his face. A genuine warm smile that didn't match the stiffness of the event. "Bill?" the man asked. "Is that you?" "Hello, Arthur," I said. "Sorry about the oil. She's got a leaky pan gasket I haven't gotten around to." Arthur Sterling, the head auctioneer of R.M. Sotheby's and the most powerful man in the classic car world, laughed. He stepped forward and shook my hand. His grip was firm, but mine was stronger. "Bill, if you drove a tank onto this lawn, I'd let you park it," Arthur said. "We've been waiting. The whisper started an hour ago. Is it true? Did you finish it?" "It's done," I said. Tyler climbed out of the truck, looking like a frightened raccoon. He saw the famous auctioneer shaking my hand. He blinked, confused. Hi?" Tyler stammered, smoothing his hoodie. "I'm Tyler Vance, influencer. I'm with him." Arthur glanced at Tyler, then dismissed him instantly, turning back to me. "The car is on the main stage, under the cover. We kept it secure, just as you asked. The transport arrived this morning from your barn." Arthur said, "Barn?" with a reverence usually reserved for cathedrals. "Let's go see her," I said. We walked toward the main auction tent. It was a massive white structure, open to the ocean breeze. Inside, seated in rows of gold chairs, were the buyers. I recognized them. The tech mogul from Silicon Valley, the oil baron from Dubai, the comedian who collected Porsches. The sharks were circling. Tyler trotted beside me, whispering frantically, "Grandpa, why does he know you? What car is he talking about? You said we were selling an item. Did you bring a car? Where did you get a car? The barn is just full of junk." "Watch and learn, boy," I said. We walked up the stairs to the stage. The lights were bright, hot against my skin. In the center of the rotating platform sat a low, wide shape, covered in a black silk cloth. Arthur stepped to the podium. He tapped the microphone. The murmur of the crowd died down instantly. "Ladies and gentlemen," Arthur began, his voice booming, "we have a late entry to the catalog, a surprise lot. For 30 years, rumors have circulated about the existence of this chassis. Most believed it was destroyed in the Los Angeles warehouse fire of 1968. Others believed it was scrapped for parts." He paused for dramatic effect. But one man knew where it was. One man spent 20 years tracking down the original sand-cast engine block, the original Girling calipers, and the original hand-rolled aluminum body panels. One man spent the last 5 years in a barn in upstate New York, assembling history by hand. Tyler grabbed my arm. "Grandpa, what is he talking about?" "He's talking about the pile of scrap metal you told me to sell for $500, I whispered. Arthur swept his hand toward me. "Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Ghost, Mr. William Halloway, and I give you the Lost Shelby Cobra 427S/C chassis number CSX3015. I stepped forward and pulled the silk cover. The fabric slid off like water. The car beneath was breathtaking. It was painted Guardsman blue with Wimbledon white stripes. It sat low, aggressive, a predator carved from metal. The side pipes were chrome cannons. The roll bar was matte black. It didn't look like a car. It looked like violence wrapped in art. A collective gasp went through the room. Then silence. The kind of silence you hear in church. "Oh my God," Tyler breathed. That was in the barn? Under the tarp next to the lawnmower?" "Yes," I said. Arthur handed me the microphone. "Bill, tell them what they're bidding on." I took the mic. I hate public speaking, I hate crowds, but I love machines, and this machine deserved to be introduced properly. This isn't a kid car, I said. My voice was raspy, amplified through the speakers. And it isn't a replica. This is the real thing. CSX 3015, one of 2 super snakes ever built. The other one drove off a cliff in 1970. I walked around the car, running my hand along the fender. The engine is a 427 cubic inch side oiler V8, I continued. It has a forged steel crank, Le Mans connecting rods, and high-riser heads. It produces 800 horsepower, no traction control, no ABS, no computer to save you. I looked at Tyler. If you respect it, it will give you the ride of your life. If you treat it like a toy, it will kill you. 800 horsepower? Tyler piped up, seeing the cameras pointed at us. He stepped into the light, trying to regain his influencer swagger. That's dope! My Ferrari had like 700, so this is basically the same, right? Just older? He turned to the crowd, raising his phone. Yo guys, check this out. My grandpa's whip. It's got that retro vibe, but the specs are mid compared to a modern. Quiet boy. The voice came from the front row. A man with a chin like a granite block and a denim shirt stood up. It was the comedian, the most famous car collector in the world. You are interrupting the master, the comedian said, his voice cutting through the air. That car is not mid. That car is God's own chariot. And your grandfather is the only man alive who could have built it, so shut your mouth and show some respect. Tyler froze. He turned pale. To be scolded by a celebrity he idolized was worse than death. He shrank back into the shadows. Continue, Bill, the comedian said, sitting down. Tell us about the rivets. The rivets are aircraft grade, I said, suppressing a smile. Handset. The body is unpolished aluminum under the paint. It has the scars of the hammer. It's perfect because it's imperfect. I stepped back. She's ready, I said to Arthur. Arthur nodded. Shall we open the bidding? The auction began. We will start the bidding at $5 million, Arthur said. 5 million, Tyler whispered, his eyes bulging. Grandpa, 5 million. A paddle went up in the back. 5 million. 6 million, said the comedian. 7 million, said the tech mogul. The numbers climbed, fast. It wasn't like a normal auction where people hesitated. These men knew what this was. This was the Holy Grail. $10 million, Arthur shouted. Do I hear 11? 11, came a voice from a phone bidder. 12 million. Tyler was vibrating. He was doing math on his fingers. 12 million, Tyler hissed in my ear. Grandpa, that's insane. We're rich. We can pay off the Ferrari. We can buy 5 Ferraris. We can buy the whole dealership. We can bulldoze the barn and build a mansion. I looked at him. He still didn't get it. He saw dollars. He didn't see the thousands of hours I spent in the freezing cold, filing piston rings by hand. He didn't see the nights I spent scouring microfiche records in dusty libraries to find the correct part number for a fuel pump. He thought this was a lottery win. He didn't understand. It was a harvest. 14 million, the comedian said. 15 million, said the oil baron. The room went quiet. $15 million. 15 million going once, Arthur chanted. Going twice. The comedian shook his head. He was out. Sold, Arthur slammed the gavel. To the gentleman from Dubai for $15 million. The room erupted in applause. Tyler grabbed me. He was jumping up and down. 15 million. We did it. We're kings. Grandpa, you're a genius. I take back everything I said about the truck. You're the GOAT. We walked backstage. The adrenaline was fading, replaced by the familiar ache in my joints. A representative from the auction house was waiting. She handed me a heavy envelope. The transfer documents, Mr. Halloway, she said. The funds will be wired to the account you specified within the hour. Thank you, I said. Tyler held out his hand. He was grinning like a shark. Okay, Grandpa, let's talk business. Obviously, we need to pay off my debt first. That's $350,000. Small change now. Then I was thinking, I need a new car. Maybe a McLaren this time. And Mom wants a vacation house. We should split the rest 50-50, right? Since I handled the logistics of the trip. Logistics, I repeated. You complained for 3 days. I provided moral support, Tyler said. Come on, hand it over. Let's look at the check. I looked at the envelope. I looked at Tyler. There is no check for you, Tyler, I said. Tyler's smile faltered. What? What do you mean? You just sold a car for $15 million. I did, I said. And the wire transfer is going directly to the Halloway Preservation Trust. Trust? Tyler asked. What trust? A charitable trust, I explained. It funds vocational schools, mechanics programs, welding certifications. It buys tools for kids who want to learn how to build things with their hands. It ensures that the art of the machine doesn't die out with my generation. Tyler stared at me. His face went slack. You gave it away, he whispered. All of it. I kept enough to fix the roof on the barn, I said, and to buy a new set of tires for the truck. But my debt, Tyler screamed. The $350,000. If I don't pay, I go to jail. You said you would get the money. I said I would get money, I corrected. I didn't say it was for you. I reached into the back pocket of my jeans. I pulled out a folded piece of paper. It was stained with a little bit of grease. But I do have something for you, I said. I handed it to him. Tyler grabbed it. He unfolded it frantically, hoping it was a check, a cashier's note, anything. It was a single sheet of paper. Application for employment. Joe's Auto Body and Repair Position. Apprentice detailer / shop hand, starting pay, $15 per hour. Tyler looked at the paper. He looked at me. A job application? He choked. For a body shop? Grandpa, I'm an influencer. I don't wash cars. You do now, I said. I pointed a calloused finger at his chest. I spoke to Joe. He's an old friend. He knows you're coming. He knows you owe a lot of money. I can't pay off $350,000 making $15 an hour, Tyler cried. That will take forever. It will take you about 10 years, I calculated, if you work overtime. And during those 10 years, you will learn how to sand primer. You will learn how to bondo a dent. You will learn the value of a bolt. I stepped closer to him. You crashed a machine because you didn't respect it, Tyler. You wanted the speed without the skill. You wanted the glory without the grease. I tapped the job application. The leasing company agreed to a payment plan. As long as you are employed and making payments, they won't press charges. But if you miss one shift, if you're late one morning, Joe calls them and you go to prison. Tyler looked at the paper. His hands were shaking. He looked at the billionaires drinking champagne in the tent behind us. He looked at his own reflection in the polished side of the truck. This is unfair, he whispered. You have millions. I have a legacy, I said, and I just saved yours. You were about to become a convict. Now you have a chance to become a man. I turned and walked toward the truck. Are you coming? I asked. Shift starts at 6 a.m. on Monday. It's a long drive back. Tyler stood there for a long time. He looked at the job application. He looked at the Ferrari 250 GTO parked nearby. He looked at his soft hands. Then, slowly, he walked to the passenger side of the truck. He climbed in. He didn't slam the door. He closed it gently. I climbed into the driver's seat. The vinyl was hot from the sun. It felt like home. I put the key in the ignition. Ready? I asked. Tyler didn't look at his phone. He didn't take a selfie. He just looked out the windshield. Yeah, he said quietly. Ready? I turned the key. Chug, 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 vroom. The inline six roared to life. A cloud of blue smoke puffed out of the tailpipe, drifting over the manicured lawn of Pebble Beach. I put it in gear. We rolled forward, the tires crunching on the gravel. As we exited the main gate, passing the guard who had saluted me earlier, I patted the dashboard. The cracked plastic was warm under my hand. Don't worry, old girl, I whispered to the truck, listening to the rhythmic tapping of the valves. You're still my favorite. You're the only one here that tells the truth. I looked in the rearview mirror. The tent, the champagne, the $15 million check. It was all fading into the distance. Ahead of us was the open road. And a lot of hard work, just the way I liked it.